Welcome back to Partnerships Unraveled, the podcast where we unravel the mysteries about partnerships and channel on a weekly basis. My name is Alex Whitford, and I'm the VP of Revenue here at Channext. And this week, I'm really excited to welcome our special guest, Mayka. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you, Alex? I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've got another great guest here for today's episode. Maybe for the uninitiated, Mayka, it'd be great if you could give us a little bit of a rundown of who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, so I'm Mayka Rosales-Peterson, and I currently live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am the president of Alliance of Channel Women. So a lot of your guests who are part of ACW probably recognize me from that. And I'm also the new vice president of marketing for Lava Technologies, which is a partner in IT consulting within the channel. So I'm super excited to be here. I've been in the channel for a while, started out working for suppliers, leading their channel marketing program, went off to a few high-level TSDs. I know a lot of people probably recognize me from Intellisys. And now I'm here. My next step up, right? Working for a partner through the whole ecosystem, I feel like.
We were joking before we started that you are the ecosystem. You literally represented everyone within the ecosystem, which I think is really exciting. Obviously, your role previous to this, you worked at Intellisys. You worked with over 400 partners in the last 12 months, which is an insane statistic. I think what's interesting to us, because you've seen so many partners and worked and collaborated with them, what's some of the biggest misconceptions you see partners having around marketing specifically?
Yeah, and that number is huge, right? But that's a combination of different type of engagements with webinars, in-person meetings, consultations, all types of things. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I think that I see partners have in regards to marketing is that the good ones understand it and know that they need it in order to move the needle forward for their business. And the ones that don't are the ones that we're seeing in this weird space of not struggling, but they recognize that the market looks so much different to 20, 25 years ago, which a lot of behaviors that we see consumers have today are very much digital, right? Digital behaviors. So I think partners are all through the spectrum realizing the importance of marketing in their ecosystem and in their business.
So I think it's funny because I think in some ways we work in a really dynamic and sort of futuristic industry, and in some ways we work in the same industry that was basically the same 35 years ago. Partners were pretty poor at marketing. However, they have started to adapt and understand how marketing can really change the game, both in terms of customer acquisition, but I think the more important, how they sell more to their existing customer base. We previously talked about how marketing is the new sales. Why do you see that?
I mean, it is, right? Everything that we do, think about us, right? The consumers. Everything that we do, the purchases that we make are highly influenced by what the brand does, the quality of what they promote, things we see on social media. All of that is marketing, right? All of that is the digital behaviors of a consumer. So I think marketing is the new sales, because without sales, there is no marketing. And without marketing, there is no sales, right? And I think to be able to really push the needle for your business, you need to be able to relate to the market the way the market is moved, and that is through marketing, right? Sales always comes in last, but to get the person in the door, there's so many things you have to do before, right? Which is the marketing fluffy stuff that partners don't like, but you have to do.
Yeah, I think I sort of see sales and marketing like a pendulum, right? The stronger the sales process and people are, the less you need to rely on marketing. But the inverse is also true. I've never spoken to an Apple salesperson in my life. I think I bought basically every product they've ever made. And that's a function of just having the strongest brand in the world, right? And so the bit that I find really interesting about the channel is that sort of diversification of responsibility. That's where marketing at true scale can happen, because suddenly you need less and less salespeople. And so the stronger your brand is, the stronger you can leverage marketing, the easier it is for partners to be successful, the easier it is to acquire customers. And so that pendulum can swing all the way to the other side if marketing really steps up and absolutely nails their job. we don't have to listen to annoying people like me, right? You just want to sell all
Yeah.
day.
And you know what? Our generation, like we see now, millennials being decision makers, and it's getting younger, right? With Gen Z coming in, they don't want to talk to anyone. That's the last thing they want to do, right? So when I worked with all my partners, I always talk to them about that, right? Making sure that your website and your things are robust, so it can self-serve people, because people don't want to talk to other people anymore. They want to do as much education on themselves, and that's when marketing comes in.
Yeah, it's actually what we do here at Chanex, right? We've worked out that most partners are brilliant engineering-led businesses, right? They get most of their businesses off referral and word of mouth because they
Yep.
do an amazing job servicing their customers. But what
Yep.
we've seen time and time again is you just pour a little bit of marketing in there and they explode, because suddenly
Hmm.
that power of word of mouth is reinforced with sort of scaled messaging, and suddenly the demand
Absolutely.
goes through the roof. I'd love to hear maybe a story of a partner you worked with who successfully transformed their marketing strategy.
Yeah.
What steps did you take with them?
Well, I mean, I worked with a lot, but one of them in particular was one that didn't have marketing at all, right? So he didn't even have a website. He didn't have a website, social presence, nothing. And one of the things that the partner was telling me was, hey, I'm cold calling folks, and then folks don't believe that I'm real. So we went all the way down to step one, right? Trying to figure out what is their brand story? Who are they in the market? How do they show up to their customers or potential customers? Who are those partner profiles? And we started all the way from the very beginning of trying to understand the foundation of who they were and who they showed up, and then trickle that in with the website and trickle that in with social presence and content. And now one of those, that partner is probably way better than they were earlier this year with sales, right? Because I think that they were able to find their sweet spot, knowing that marketing was a big piece that needed to push forward the things that they were trying to promote and sell.
And I often see sort of marketing pigeonholed as sort of customer acquisition. How do
Yeah.
you sort of see the relationship between marketing being used to help partners acquire new customers, but also helping partners to cross-sell into existing customers or to expand the sort of portfolio within their existing customer base? Where do you see that balance?
Oh my gosh, that's such a huge, huge thing that I think partners don't even think about, Alex. I'm just going to tell you straight up, right? There's a lot of partners that I think are, super focused on acquisition and then forget that they have customers that they have to nurture. And those are the ones that I wanted to pull my hair out, because I'm like, there's so much money sitting here within your customer base that you can untap from a marketing perspective. And the coaching that I would provide to those partners is understanding who's in your customer base, right? Figuring out what are they doing? What are their behaviors? What do they purchase? When is their end date, right? When is their contracts over? And then coming up with pain points that relate to them in ways that they care about, right? Through email marketing, through having your team call them, check in on them, right? Through doing newsletters, right? So that you can stay top of mind from a behavior branding perspective. So many things that they need to do that has not been done. And then from an acquisition perspective, obviously doing the prospecting events, the webinars, all the things for top funnel demand gen. And there's a delicate, you have to do both. If you have customers and you are a partner, you have to do both. You have to have two strategies. There's a lot of partners in our ecosystem that focus on one and then sometimes not the other. And then they're like, crap, my biggest customer left. Well, because you didn't talk to them for like a year. They didn't know you existed, right? So that's when marketing comes in, and good CRM tools and tools that can let you be able to engage with those folks without you even noticing and realizing.
Awesome. So we sort of baselined the audience that marketing plays a critical role, especially when we talk about true scale within the channel. It helps you acquire new customers, but also helps you retain customers and sell more product to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think shock marketing works, but what advice would you give to vendors looking to invest in partner marketing? How can they really provide value to their partners?
Yeah, I think, and like I said, at Intellisys, I worked with every single vendor supplier you can think about, because I was in a position that I was helping partners drive demand to their businesses and leveraging the programs that suppliers had. I think the biggest piece that I've heard from partners overall are resources and tools that suppliers can offer to them in regards to, like, MDF, or support with marketing one pagers, email campaigns, things that can help them drive demand, and working with partners one on one to help them understand how they can drive pipeline to their business. Those are the suppliers, the vendors, the providers, whatever. We have so many names that we call vendor, right? Um, can push the needle a little bit with their partners, the ones that really show up from a demand gen perspective and have the programs that are in place to help them, are the ones that I see that are winning in the market. Even, I mean, and even from a portal perspective, right? There's so many portals. We have so many portals, so many different uh, things that suppliers have to offer to partners. But I think the ones that are doing it really, really well are the ones that are providing that additional demand gen resource, right? And understanding the partners that they're serving, and making sure that they're offering the right value to the right partner.
100%. I love that, understanding the partner, right? Because
Yeah,
we at Chanex work with thousands of partners automating marketing every single week, and our view is that, a partner portal is great. So it's a
yeah,
great repository, but I've never heard a partner turn around and say, "Oh, thank you. Another partner portal, that's exactly what we need," right? It's really about meeting the partner where they are, either by
yeah,
providing them tooling to help them go to market, or providing them assets in the form that they need to really use it. But just having this sort of dump where people can go and find resources themselves in the wrong language, in the wrong in the wrong type of materials that they need to be able to actually use them. It's actually, while it feels like you're providing value, it's not really providing any true value to the partner.
it's not, because, to my point earlier, every partner profile is completely different, right? A partner that's newer into the ecosystem might need more support, more help, and more resources that are within the portal that a vendor might have. But a partner that's more seasoned and has been around for a long time might not need, like, they're not going to want a one page. They're going to want leads, right? Like, how can you get me a lead? What can we do together to drive demand in the market? Like, those are conversations for bigger partners, right? Of things that they're looking for. So understanding your partner profile is important, and then tying the activities to what those partners need is going to be important too, because not one size fits all.
Yeah, I love that term in terms of partner maturity, right? And I think vendors really misunderstand this often, where they view partner maturity as partner maturity with that particular brand. But that's also not true, right? Yeah, I can be new to selling you, but have been in the market for 20 years. I then therefore have a different expectation about what your
Yeah,
program is going to bring me, right? And
right.
so treating those partners with the understanding that, okay, we're actually playing with a serious heavy hitter now. And so we need to provide different collateral. We need to provide different support, both in terms of personnel and tooling. That's going to be a
Mhm.
hard requirement to get that partner to become as successful with you as they are with other brands, which is
Yeah,
particularly important if they have a large wallet share, right? Which, if they've been
yeah.
around for 20 years, they do. So winning there is critical. How do you see brands really tackling those higher value partners with sort of increased focus? Who's doing that well today, and why are they doing it well?
Oh gosh, I don't want to throw names out there because there are some that are doing it really, really, really well. I will say, just to throw a name out there, Comcast Business. When I worked with them at Intelisys, they did an amazing job of understanding partner profiles and what each partner needed, depending on the ask, right? So I think, if there's other vendors looking at what I'm saying here, and Comcast might be a little upset, but they're the ones doing it right. Go and check and see what they're doing.
Nice. So they're segmenting their partners and then having a real understanding around, hey, segment one is needs this type of resource, segment two needs this, so they can sort of have a more granular focus on how to make those partners successful.
And then, yep, so they have a granular focus. Their programs are amazing, right? So they have marketing development funds for programs for partners that help them drive activity. So obviously, they're holding partners accountable, saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you these funds for your events, for email campaigns." There was one that they invested in a partner a big amount of MDF, and they did a full-blown digital marketing campaigns, bought ads, did a whole email, like we did a whole robust campaign. And I think big partners are looking for things like that, right? Like activities that are more specific to their business versus like, hey, I have a one pager that I need to co-brand, even though those things are important. Just
Yeah,
yeah,
I certainly think from a program perspective, we should be sort of over indexing on the customized plans, right? Because I
yeah,
hate when I hear, hey, we just spent 1500 USD on, I sent an email out, and I'm like, okay, but we need
yeah,
to think slightly more sort of value orientated. So I think it's great to hear when brands are like, let's build this full digital marketing campaign. One, it's more interesting to work on. But two, if you're taking customers through that nurture and awareness and really converting them well, that's really what I imagine when you're in your position, that's when you see the real sort of value differentiator.
absolutely, absolutely. And but again, it depends on the partner. It always goes back to that. Because a
Yeah,
newer
for sure.
partner is going to be like, yeah, we need all these things, but if they don't have the basic marketing pieces in the foundation, it won't work.
Yeah, if you don't
So,
have that core infrastructure, right,
no.
we're talking a very different game. Maybe
Yep.
pivoting slightly then, what are the top trends in channel marketing that you believe are sort of going to shape the industry in the next few years?
I really think that there's gonna be a really big customer focused um, trend. And when I say that, I think a lot of the activities that we've done in the channel traditionally have always been through, TSDs and, working through partners and, helping them from an engagement perspective. But I think most of the strategy now, from what I've seen, even when I was at Intelisys, was vendors wanting to do more with partners' customers. So educating the customer at events, doing more webinars for customers, just getting more at the ground level is where I see a lot of the activities going to be prospering, right, in the next few years. Happening now, but I think it's going to accelerate.
So we've had a few sort of AWS senior leaders and people from either EMEA or from the US on the podcast, and sort of AWS is evangelizing being the most customer obsessed company in the world. And it's amazing when I hear them talk about their program strategy and execution. It's always just pulled back from how do we help the customer to be most successful. And to
Yeah.
me, it's not surprising when you gear your program around making the customer successful. Great things happen because you
Mm-hmm.
understand in detail what each customer needs, and then you sort of orientate your partner strategy backwards from there. It sounds like you're sort of evangelizing the same
I
use case.
am. I think so because even working at a partner now, the biggest pain point for us is customer experience, right? So if there's a way that vendors and suppliers and providers can morph their channel strategy to not only help support that pain point, but help us be able to deliver that great experience for our customers, I think that's the sweet spot that I think everyone's going to head to.
I completely agree. I think when you focus in on customer value, I think there's one sort of key change that we're going to see in the next 3 years, and that's
Absolutely.
there's less brand and more
Hmm.
brands, right?
Yep.
So stop talking about, hey, this is what we do as a singular brand, but hey, this is our attachment. This is how we are an ecosystem together, because that customer isn't after just one brand. They're after the full solution. So I think the
Hmm.
faster that brands can take that unified and joint message to market together, those are the
Hmm.
ones that are going to cause that really big difference, because that's really what the customer needs.
Yeah. 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 And 100%, right? They care about the pain point. How are you solving the issue that I have at hand? I don't care if you're Spectrum, go to whoever you are, right? It's like, how are you addressing the pain point? We see AI being the biggest thing right now, right? The biggest rave that I think partners are trying to wrap their heads around. Customers are trying to figure out how to implement it to their business or how it's going to impact, their businesses, in the next few months, right? Because it's changing and evolving so fast. AI is so, just figuring out the pain points and getting closer to the customer and building programs that are closer to helping that CX experience with the customer. I think is where it's headed.
Amazing, Micah. That's been incredibly helpful talking about customer experience and how marketing trends are going to evolve.
We went
We,
everywhere, Alex.
yeah, we covered the entire ecosystem in 20 minutes flat, which I think is fairly impressive. Maybe just as one finish, there's one bit of the ecosystem we haven't touched, and that's referrals. We always like to ask our current guest who they think we should have on next. Micah, who do you have in mind?
Yeah, so I would recommend my VP of uh, at ACW, who's also a phenomenal channel marketer, Akila Morel. And yeah, I hope that you guys can get her on and hear her wisdom.
Amazing. Akila, we're coming from you. Micah, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. It's been a wonderful experience for our listeners.
Awesome. Thank you.